Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be titled, Resisting External Influence. I'm the kind of guy who, whenever I walk into a store, whether it's for furniture, clothes, electronics, or anything else, I like to operate on my own terms. I walk in with my own ideas, my own preferences, and my own sense of style. I don't need someone hovering over me trying to steer me toward what they think I should buy. Salespeople often mean well, but when they start pushing belts to match my shoes or suggesting outfits that supposedly complete the look, I immediately feel boxed in. That's when I say, politely but firmly, "Hey, look, when I need somebody, I'll get in touch with you." Because the truth is, I want to be influenced by my own decisions, not someone else's agenda. It's not that I don't appreciate help. I get that some people genuinely want guidance. They want to know if they're getting the best deal, or if something suits them better than what they originally picked. That's fine. For them. But me? I'm wired differently. I trust my instincts more than I trust someone else's pitch. This mindset doesn't just apply to shopping. It extends to people too. I've never liked being told who I should or shouldn't like. When someone tries to influence me by saying, "That guy's no good," or "She's always causing trouble," I take it as an insult. I'm smart enough to figure out who's worth my time and who isn't. People often project their own experiences onto others. They'll tell you someone's bad news based on a personal falling out or some petty drama. But what happened to them might never happen to you. Their beef isn't automatically your beef. And yet we live in a world where people are constantly influenced by other people's opinions. To me, that's weak-minded. It takes strength to think for yourself. It takes character to form your own judgments without leaning on someone else's bias. And strangely enough, that kind of independence is rare. Most people follow the loudest voice in the room, even if that voice is manipulative or self-serving. Why do people do that? Maybe they're afraid. Maybe they don't want to end up on the wrong side of someone powerful or popular. Maybe they think that by agreeing, they'll be protected. But that's a dangerous game. Because if someone's willing to backstab another person, chances are they'll do the same to you. I've always preferred to be upfront. If I don't like something, I'll say it. If I don't vibe with someone, I won't fake it. That doesn't mean I'm rude or confrontational for no reason. If you haven't done anything wrong to me, I'll treat you with respect. I don't dislike people arbitrarily. I don't look at someone with a nicer car and think, he must be a jerk. I don't see a guy with a beautiful girlfriend and assume he's full of himself. That kind of jealousy never sat right with me. I'm content with who I am. I don't need to tear someone down to feel better about myself. Even people close to me, spouses, friends, have noticed that I don't carry jealousy around. I don't talk bad about others just to make myself feel superior. That's not how I operate. I've always believed that people who do that are just full of it. They're not worth your time or energy. And honestly, those types of people are troublemakers. They stir the pot, spread negativity, and try to drag others into their mess. I've learned to stay away from them. But that doesn't mean they won't try to cause problems. That's just who they are. So I stay alert and keep my distance. If someone tries to influence you to think like they do, especially when it comes to disliking someone, you've got to be cautious. You're smart enough to think for yourself. You're capable of forming your own opinions. Don't let someone else's bitterness become your burden. People dislike others for the dumbest reasons. I don't like the way they dress. I don't like the way they talk. Really? That's your basis for judgment? I've had people dislike me because of my accent, the way I speak. And ironically, some of those same people will later say, "Hey, I really like the way you talk." That's when I know they're full of it. They're not being honest. They're just saying what they think I want to hear. And that's the world I live in now. A world where people rarely speak the truth. They'll butter you up, flatter you, and pretend to be supportive, but it's all surface level. I come from a different world. I was raised in an environment where people told you the truth, even if it stung. My family, my aunts, uncles, cousins, they didn't sugarcoat anything. If you were lying, they'd tell you to shut up. If you were wrong, they'd call you out. That was normal. You had to have thick skin. Now I live in a place where everything's wrapped in politeness, even when it's fake. People will say, "Great interview," will definitely call you back, and never mean it. Why give someone false hope? Just be real. Say, "We'll be in touch if something opens up." No need to lie. That's why I struggle in this new environment. I'm not trying to put it down, but it's hard for someone like me, someone who values honesty and directness, to thrive in a culture of pretense. I don't want my bottom buttered. I want the truth, even if it's not what I want to hear. And that's why I don't let people influence me. I don't follow troublemakers. I don't adopt someone else's grudge. If I don't know the person, I'm not going to judge them based on hearsay. I need to see things for myself. I need to experience people firsthand before forming an opinion. Even in families, this dynamic plays out. If two relatives work together and one has a problem with a coworker, the other automatically sides with them. But why? Why not look at the situation objectively? Maybe your family member is the one causing the issue. Maybe they're not being fair. Blind loyalty can be dangerous. It clouds judgment and creates unnecessary conflict. I'm grateful I'm not like that. I don't just accept someone's version of events. I ask questions. I observe. I think critically. And yeah, that's put me in some tough spots. Because when you go against the grain, people don't like it. You become the bad guy. You get chastised. You get labeled. But I'd rather walk that road than compromise who I am. I'd rather be true to myself than be liked for pretending. So that's where I stand. I prefer to be guided by myself, by the decisions I make, the experiences I've accumulated, and the values I've chosen to live by. I'm not interested in being shaped by the drama of others, or by their insecurities, or by attempts to manipulate my perspective. While I remain open to learning from people, I believe it's important to maintain a clear sense of who I am. Over time, I've come to understand that my identity is not something to be defined by external noise, but by an internal clarity that I've worked hard to cultivate. It may not align perfectly with everyone else's expectations, and it doesn't need to. I know who I am. I trust the foundation I've built. And for me, that's enough. Anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Signing out. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye for now.